Don't stay there. So you don't stay there too long when you start renting. And that's why when we have this kind of seminar, we can look at, okay, I want to buy a house. I am renting now, or I already have a house. What else can I do with the one that I have now, which hopefully I'll be able to get there? How can I be able to use the equity from the one I have here now to invest and get something else? Because there's always something or a way to move from good to better, from better to best. So the first reason why it's important for everyone here to work on owning a house is rent is a waste. When you have your own home ownership, is an asset. And you are able to have, yes, is a big asset. Car is a necessity. It's a good thing to have a car or to have cars. But when you are talking of having assets, owning your own, when you own your own home, is an asset. It's something that you can be able to look forward to, and it will give you financial stability later on. And when we want to see how we can be able to get stable, when we are looking at investment that can help us financially later on, real estate is a good one to look into. I remember one of my ladies, she had a lot of stock many years ago. Bitcoin, she had a lot. But by the time the whole things crashed, she lost millions because those are not stable. But one thing is, if you own your property, if you buy into real estate, then it is not possible. You are going to still have that property there. Even if the price is reduced, you still have that property. And the way it works is it picks up. You cannot lose your capital. It's not possible, unlike other investment. So it's always good when we look at how to build equity to when we own our house and be able to work towards owning our house by taking the necessary steps that is required to own our house. So what are the things or the items that I need? And the mortgage, thank God we have a good mortgage broker here that's going to be able to talk when it comes to how you get your mortgage. When it comes to what kind of account do you need to save? Do you need to have? How can you prepare to get to start paying for your down payment? Things like that. That has to do with financing. Steve Green is going to be talking about that. But one of the things that I need you to know is that if you're going to buy a house, you need to have like a kind of pre-approval. What does that mean? It's like you want to prepare a soup. You need a budget to be able to work with. So that's what that does for you. It gives you a working budget that, okay, with what you have, and usually there are a couple of things that is used to determine that you can be able to afford so amount of money, amount of house. I remember there's one of my clients that contacted me and said, oh, this is what I have. I want to have a house that has this so number of rooms. I want to have this garage. I want to have this number of rooms in the basement. I want to have this. I want to have that. I said, oh, wow, that's amazing. I like that kind of property too. But let's start from somewhere. Let's see how much you can be able to afford, because that's the starting point. So it's not about I want to have, it's about what can you be able to afford based on what you have now. Your credit score is huge. When you work on your credit score, you can be able to have, because all of this you'll be able to put together to determine what you're going to get for your mortgage. So they look at your employment, they look at your credit score, and they put all of those together to determine what you're going to get pre-approved for. So one of the things that is important when I'm looking at I need a house is that I'm going to work on how much it's going to be. So if, for example, now if I'm pre-approved for 500,000, I'm going to look at the down payment. How much will the down payment be? Anything that is below 500,000, for as a first-time homeowner, you can pay 5% down payment. If it's above that, then the amount that you're going to pay as down payment will increase. So saving for your down payment, because you will need money to pay your down payment, and you will need closing costs. All of those things are things that you have to put together and work on gradually as you begin to prepare and plan to own your first house or to invest on more real estate properties. So getting your pre-approval give you a rough idea that, okay, with this now, okay, I know a rough idea of how much I'm going to be working with. So you'll be able to know the kind of the amount of house that you're going to be looking to buy when you get your pre-approval. So they look at different things, your credit score and all of those things, to be able to track have a track record of your payment, to determine how much you can be approved for. So just on a side note, if you are the type that have 1 or 2 credit cards, and you, for one reason or the other, maybe there's a delay and you are not able to pay, one of the things you need to work on now is how would you start working on all of those things, so that by the time you need to commit into a big investment like buying real estate property, that will not be an hindrance, or that will not disturb you. So when they are looking at your employment, they see how much you are earning. They see how much comes in. Maybe if you are buying, you and your husband, or if you are buying with a partner. I'm going to get to that one. I'm just trying to look at the simple point first. Then later on, I can put all the points together. If you are business owners here, it's better you file. It's a good thing for you to file your taxes, because if you don't file your taxes, by the time you need to buy or invest, things like that will show. So it's always good that you file your taxes, your business taxes, so you can be able to get a mortgage approval when it's time for you to buy a property. So I already made this illustration. So for example, 5% of down payment of 500,000 will be 25,000. So depending on how much house you are buying, you can use that to calculate how much the down payment is. Then the closing cost is another thing that you can be able to look at later on. So what are the steps that you need to? Okay, I received a lot of emails in terms of, okay, I'm not a permanent resident, I'm not a citizen, can I buy a house? I'm going to just mention this briefly. When it's Stephen Green's turn to talk, he's going to be able to speak more into that. Then Barrister will be able to talk more on that too. Right now, because of the present regulation in Canada, permanent resident and citizen are the one that can be able to buy. But that doesn't mean foreign buyers cannot buy too. It's just that they will need to pay an additional 25% purchase price to the government. But the legal aspect of it, we'll be able to hear how that works as we move forward. So right now, it's easier if you are a PR holder or a citizen. All you just need is to work on all of those things, bam, 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 get them ready. And once you get those things ready, you'll be able to take the step. So all you worry about is just your down payment and all your closing costs and all of those ones. But if you are a foreign buyer, then in addition to all of the ones that I've mentioned, you will need to now start working on the 25% purchase price that goes to the government. But like I said, we will be able to hear more about that when we get to that term. So right now, the other expenses that you need to put into consideration, like the inspection costs, lawyer fees, all of those ones, we have to be things that you put into consideration in addition to the down payment when you are looking into buying a house. And usually the seller pays the realtor, but there's some different scenario that might be a little bit different. But whatsoever happens, it must have been discussed before it gets there. I'm going to just rush through the other things that I have here. Other points that I have here is, yes, I have worked on my down payment. Yes, I have my pre-approval ready. Yes, all of these things are ready for me to go. Then I can now look at, okay, I want a house. Where do I want it? What are the must-have that I must have in a house? Like I was talking, one of my clients told me, I don't need more than 1.5 bathrooms. That's all I want. But it's important for any house that I have to have a garage. So for that family, that's what they want. Whereas I have met tons of clients, they will tell me the minimum washroom they want is 3. I cannot have but 3 washrooms. So you look at what are the must have, what are the nice to have. So all of those things will be put into consideration when I'm looking at a house that will meet your need, that can be able to get for you. So it makes the search a little bit more narrow to the purpose or to the goal. There's a particular house last year. I didn't even check I didn't check MLS before now to look for that property, because for a long time I've been checking that property. The property is so beautiful, like very nice and beautiful property. But that neighborhood is not, that's the only property in that neighborhood that has all of those things. It has everything. But that's the only house in that neighborhood that is there. So for a long time, it was in the market, because it was a good property in a not too good neighborhood. So when you are buying a house, you look at, okay, what's going to be the future? And that's one of the things I look for when I'm buying a property for my client. What will be the long-term goal? If I'm going to sell this house later on, how easy will it be for me to sell this house? In this neighborhood, if I'm selling, how will it appreciate? How will this appreciate? Because it's all about investment. Even if you are living there, you want to buy it and be able to have, you want it to the cost to have appreciated to the extent that you can be able to buy something better after you have lived in that place for a long time. So looking at the good neighborhood and buying a house in a good neighborhood is a good thing to put in mind. So that determines, you look at the resale value and look at how houses have grown in that particular area and look at how easy it is to sell houses in that neighborhood. So right now, I've received a lot of questions. Victoria, now the interest rate, do you think is good? Can I buy now? All of those and all of those. I've read and I've heard and I've spoken with tons of people. But here's my question. You are where you are now and you are renting. You are still helping somebody pay their mortgage. You can as well take that money and buy your own, because one thing is that house will definitely appreciate. So right now, unlike before, when a house is listed for 400,000, before you know it, people are negotiating for more than like 400,000. They are negotiating for 650,000, and you are like, wow, this house. Because before you even need, before you get there are tons and tons of offers that have come in already. But right now, it's not really so much like that. You can be able to put in some condition. You can be able to negotiate. So, which is a good thing. And by the time you buy it, it's easier because you have something that's helped the house to be able to really appreciate. So later on, you can now be able to look at it and be able to, buy later. So I don't want you to focus basically on people that buy their first home alone. Within the 1 minute, I'm just going to run through this. Now, how about people that is not just their first home, they want to invest. Maybe 2 or 3 want to come together. And you know what? All people in other community, this is what they do. Chinese, Indians, they come together, they put money together and they buy, they invest together. And we can do the same too. We can put the money together and we can be able to have a kind of joint venture. So JV is a situation where a couple of people come together, they buy a property. So one person may not be able to share the risk. So in that way, you have all of you, if it's 4 or 5 people, you are sharing the risk together and you are sharing the property together. The responsibility and the finance is already determined, it's already there, it's scheduled there. It's on the legal documents that brings it together. Then that determines the ownership ratio too. Then the exit plan and all of those things together, you can put it together and 1 or 2 people can be able to invest, or 3 or 4 people can be able to invest. So I'm going to pause. I'm facilitating the program, so I'm going to be in and out. But right now, I'm going to round up this section. And I will round up by saying that when it comes to buying or selling your houses, you reach out to me. I'm here to guide you through all the steps when it comes to your real estate journey. Thank you so much. So I'm going to start sharing now, so I can be able to give room for the other person to start sharing and to take over. So it's your turn, Steve.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Now let me just go make sure I can share my screen. So I need Zoom is saying I need some permission from you to share my screen. It says that
sorry, give me a second. Let me make you
no
problem.
Sister Cynthia, can you make both him and Barrister?
I will do it at once.
Okay, thank you.
I can't even find their name. That's my problem.
Idowu Thomas and Stephen Gray.
I know there's a magic button there somewhere.
No, I found the magic button. I'm just looking for your name. Yeah.
I will say, just while I'm waiting for that, thank you very much for having me. It's been, I know you worked very hard on this, and I know I've been seeing this kind of really come together. So thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here, and I'm excited to present on the topic because it's an exciting time right now for all the crazy stuff going on in real estate. So I really do appreciate it. And I've got some permission here now. So give me 1 moment. Yes. I'm going to pop this open here. Okay. Let me know if you can all see my my screen and my logo and the QR code there. I can see some thumbs up from everybody. Make sure everyone's ready and excited for the mortgage portion. Excellent. All right. I know at least Alex is there. That's perfect. Okay. So again, thanks so much for having me. I'm going to go through very, very quickly a very broad topic in a short period of time. Okay. And what I would invite you to do, if you would like to connect with me, that is my QR code in the top right-hand corner. By all means, scan it. And then you will find out all the different links about how to connect with me and stuff like that. That's there for you. Okay. So again, I'm Stephen Green. I'm a mortgage broker here in Ontario. I've been doing this a very, very long time, as has Victoria said. I know her from back in the day when I was a bank person. So here's a little bit about me. That's 25 years just in financial services alone. I was an RBC mortgage specialist for over 12 years. And then I'm all grown up now and I'm on my own as a mortgage agent. So over $750 million in mortgages funded and two incredible assistants to assist with me. We also have two agents with our team as well. And to be honest, you know, our business is built on transparency, just being honest, straightforward with people, and just really strong communication as much as we can. So, okay, here's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm just going to briefly go through different tools that are available to you. Okay, so it's really important you have the right tools. Okay, there's a ton of American tools out there that aren't accurate. There's stuff that people have built that's not accurate. I'm going to go through a bit with my app so that you can see what's available to you. Getting ready to buy your home. Okay, so whether first-time home buyer, investor, second time, just the very basics. Okay, credit scores in Canada. This is probably something we spend a lot of time on because not everybody knows everything about them. Okay, saving for a down payment, pre-approvals versus final approvals, and of course, the very, very, very important topic of having a team working with you. Okay, so again, this is going to go right to our app. If you scan the QR code or go to greeninyourpocket.ca, this has every possible mortgage tool you could possibly want. It's in this app. Okay, so again, greeninyourpocket.ca, or you can also scan that QR code as well. Okay, required income calculators. I know that'll help Victoria out a lot where she can, you know, pop there. You can go to the app and you can see how much you need to make to be able to afford what you're looking for. Current rates, all sorts of fun stuff like that. Okay, so getting ready to buy a home. So this is for both investors and first-time home buyers, and repeat for that matter, okay? Emotional readiness is really important, okay? There's sometimes I meet clients and like, you know what? They're really just not ready to buy a home, okay? You really have to think about all the upkeep and maintenance. You've got, you know, cutting grass, and then the lawnmower breaks, and then you got to shovel snow, and then the snowblower breaks or the shovel breaks. But then there's also all the good stuff, right? Where you have your own spot. You've got maybe your backyard or your balcony, or, you know, you just have your own space, which is fantastic. So you got to be ready for it. And it's really important that you take that into consideration. Are you financially ready? Obviously, that's kind of where I come in a little bit, okay? Is it almost the same or more as rent, right? The way things are going right now, in a lot of cases it is. It's a better or the same price as rent, right? So that definitely does lend itself to making it a good investment, okay? And I've already mentioned about online tools, which I won't go through again there. Okay, credit scores in Canada. This, my friends, this is something that is incredibly important, okay? So we all have a credit score in Canada. And really what the credit score is, it just really illustrates to lenders your history of repayment to credit products. That's all this is, okay? It is your history of any money you borrowed and your history and ability to repay that money, okay? That's all a credit score is good for. What impacts it? A lot of stuff, but this is the important stuff. Your payment history, okay? Are you repaying your debt obligations? Very simple. Delinquencies, okay? If you are more than 30 days late on anything, it reports and hurts your credit. 30 days, 30, 60, and 90 is kind of those those landmarks, okay, with credit repayment. This is a very, very big one. I'm going to give an example for balance to limit ratio. So for example, if you have one credit card and it's $1,000 limit, and you always have a $900 balance, your percentage utilization is 90%. That is over 50%. Even if you have perfect repayment history, your score will plummet. That same scenario, though, if you go and get another credit card with a $10,000 limit, and you still have a credit card for $1,900 balance, then your percentage utilization is less than 10%. In the matter of a month or two, your score will go right back up, okay? Believe it or not, sometimes the advice we give our clients is go get another credit card, okay? But this is a very, very big one for clients. Obviously, recent inquiries and how long have you been on the bureau, right? Is it only been a year? You're going to have a limited credit history. If you don't do this on a regular basis, I would strongly recommend you do this. There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of identity takeover, okay? Visit equifax.ca or transunion.ca. In both cases, based on recent legal legislation, I'm sure Florence can speak to this as well, they have to allow you to check your credit for free now, okay? So check your credit on a monthly basis, always, okay? Make sure you know what your credit is. You don't want to go get pre-approved for a mortgage, and all of a sudden there's a collections because a dentist didn't get paid and they put a collections against you, okay? There are two companies. Make sure you check them both. Scores, okay, so when you are checking your credit score after this call, okay, make sure you're checking it out. Really, 680 is a magic number for a lot of lenders. As long as your credit's over 680, we can normally get pricing. Pricing is the interest rate, etc., with a prime lender, like a big bank, a TD, a Scotia, a National, etc., okay? Once it starts to get down a little bit below that, there's usually something on the bureau that we got to talk about, okay? But 680 is kind of your magic number. I will say this, though, that's for prime lending, okay? If you have weaker credit, we have fantastic lenders that will still entertain that, okay? So don't think, I've got some, I didn't pay my cell phone bill on time. I can't get a mortgage. It's not the case, okay? We're here to help and go through your credit with you and make sure we can find the right lender for you. And then that's the visual on what makes up a credit score, okay? All right, how much do you need? So let's talk about this a little bit. If you're buying a rental property, the minimum is 20% down, okay? Unless you are buying, let's say, a multi-residential, like a duplex, a triplex, etc., and you're living in one unit and renting out the other units, okay? In that case, we go less than 20% down because it's owner occupied, okay? If you are purchasing just for your own owner occupied usage, okay, so you're not renting it out, yes, you can go as low as 5% down. Victoria alluded to this earlier, where she said up to 500,000. The minimum is 5%. 500,000 to $1 million. The minimum down payment is 500,000. 5% to 500,000 and 10% on the difference. Let me illustrate that. If you're buying for $1 million, the minimum down payment total would be 75,000. That's 5% to 500, and then 10% on the difference to $1 million. So there is that tiering effect. You cannot buy a home for more than $1 million with less than 20% down, period. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. That's the low down payment. Victoria also alluded, and I definitely, Florence, if you're listening there and you want to jump in, or you can wait till your presentation, it's totally up to you. The non-resident speculation tax. Okay, so if you're on a work permit, okay, basically if your social insurance number starts with a 9, you're on a work permit. In some scenarios, you can buy a home, but the lenders are going to look to make sure you've got that additional 25% to pay on the purchase price in taxation. So there's a way to get it back. Again, I am not a lawyer. I do not accept anything I say as legal advice. Definitely Florence is going to talk to everybody about this, okay? But that is something that lenders look for. And then there is, of course, a ban on certain non-resident situations. Again, I'm going to totally pass that over to Florence to talk about during her presentation. One other thing I'm going to mention, actually, I'll talk about it on this slide right here. Victoria was talking about multiple individuals purchasing a home together. Okay, so yes, there's definitely the joint venture opportunity. We more see that on the investor side because there are tax implications. Again, topic for Florence. It's like I'm handing this whole thing over to Florence when I get to this point. But definitely, I'm going to hand that part, the joint venture conversation is going over to Florence. The other thing we do see, and Victoria is correct, where the way things are right now, incomes have not kept up with the price of housing, period, end of story. It just has not caught up at all. So we see a lot of folks, especially 20s, early 30s, 4 or 5 friends get together and they purchase a home, okay? One thing we can do there, and I've seen it go very successful, when that happens, I am very, very strict on this and recommend they should get a cohabitation agreement. This is a very simple document that should be reviewed by lawyers. Again, Florence, I'm queuing you up here, my friend. But it's a simple document that says, this is what we all came in with. This is what we exit with. People who have done that and have not done the agreement, it's not pleasant trying to sell a house in that situation. But when they have the very tough conversations before they enter the agreement, it can be very, very successful, okay? So again, we see that a lot, especially with our, I'm going to say, anyone under 40, really, right? It comes up in conversations, so. Okay, income. So Victoria mentioned a little bit about this. So I'm going to explain what we refer to as mitigate, how we mitigate income. We always want to know how much is it, and is it expected to continue? So for example, salary, very simple, annual amount, no big deal. Hourly, mission-based, self-employed, that's variable income. We normally need a 2-year average. And I'm going to make this comment as someone who's been doing this a very, very long time, okay? Lenders, all banks are very, very particular when they are verifying income. My job is to make sure I review the documents properly before submission, but understand they ask for a lot of things. And here's what I tell people. If you want a mortgage, just give them the documents. Don't fight it. Give them the documents. It's all good. Just get it done, right? So job letter, pay stub, T4s. If you're self-employed, T1 generals, notice of assessments. I will say, this is very, very important. If you are self-employed, we have some incredible self-employed programs where if you have a 1-2 year history, we don't even need your tax returns. We can take 12 months deposit history and do a stated income. Okay, so we've got options. Child tax benefit, we've got options for that as well. And if you do get tips, they've got to be reported. Okay, I always make this joke. Banks and lenders mess with a lot of people. The government is not one of them. Okay. All right, building a down payment. Lots of different ways to do it. First and foremost, have a plan. Plan it out. How much am I putting towards from every paycheck? How much am I saving? Tax-free savings. There's the new first-time homebuyer tax-free savings account. I'm not going to go too much detail into it today. My humble opinion, barring having a more deeper conversation, it is by far the best government program for saving towards a down payment I've seen in a long time. The government messes up a lot of stuff. They didn't mess this up, okay? So $40,000 you can do tax-free. It's fantastic. You can use your retirement savings plan. That's okay too. We can talk more about that offline. We do accept gifts. Some lenders will even accept gifts for rental properties. Not usually the whole 20%, but there are many lenders that will accept some of the money as gift from immediate family. Uncles and cousins are not immediate. Okay. Mom, dad, grandparents, brothers, sisters, etc. are immediate family. All lenders are very strict on that. And then there's a lot of regional down payment programs. Waterloo region, they actually have a down payment program where they will give you the 5% down towards your down payment. And if you don't refinance, sell, whatever, you can actually keep that money. Now, if you refinance early, you got to give it back. That's okay. Again, just another program that's available to everybody. Okay, buying your home. Victoria said this, I think, 5 times. I'm going to say it another 5, maybe 20 times. We'll see. Get a pre-approval. Okay. You do not want Victoria driving you around to 50 houses. All of a sudden, now you're excited. You got this one. And then you find out that there's an issue with one little document and your dreams go up in smoke. Okay. So get pre-approved. It is so critical. You want to make sure that if you're shopping for 500,000, that is actually what you can afford. I can tell you this, my friends, we are no longer mortgage brokers. We are mortgage planners. There are times when clients come to me and I say, guys, go fix this for the next 2 months. Then we'll do your pre-approval. Then you're going to go buy a house, which is a lot better than, I'm sorry, you can't now buy the house that you want. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer because you didn't follow some advice or get checked out first. Okay. We can, for the most part, depending on the lenders, we can usually lock rates up to 120 days. Okay. Which is fantastic. Things the bank takes into consideration, I've kind of recapped that already. Income, net worth, credit rating. Okay. Credit's really super important. And documents to bring to your first meeting. The list is usually a little bit bigger. So we're just going to leave those points alone. Okay, so here's some things that, and I'm going to say this. Our education system, the one thing I really wish it would teach is finance. Like, I'm not talking, bonds and stocks and stuff. I'm talking like how to balance a household budget. So when you're looking at how much you can afford and what's comfortable, I always tell my clients this. What we can approve you for and what real life are 2 different things. Because don't forget, the bank only takes into consideration mortgage payment, taxes, and condo fees if you're purchasing a condo and some heat. It doesn't take into consideration utilities, insurance, other things like that. So life is life. Right? We live in a time we have, $15 loaves of bread. Like, it's insane. So we want to make sure that when we're looking at a budget, these are some of the things we take into consideration. Bank is going to take into consideration the big things. Make sure your lifestyle can meet what you're actually buying. Okay. The other thing that's not in this presentation, because again, I want to keep it within time. If you are looking to invest in real estate, my recommendation, okay, if you don't want to use me, that's cool. However, when you're working with a mortgage agent, make sure the mortgage agent has experience with investment properties. Okay, I do. At one point, my business was almost 80% investors. Okay, they are a fantastic group of people to work with. Now, the way things are with prices, etc., it is crucial you have somebody working for you on the mortgage side that understands cash flow and how lenders look at investor numbers. Okay, it is tougher to cash flow. It's important to understand your numbers. Back in the day, you could buy whatever house when their interest rates were 1.nothing%. Everyone was an amazing investor. Well, now that the house prices the rates are a little bit higher, prices are where they are, rental incomes are a little crazy. You got to be a smart investor. Okay, so if you're going into investment properties, that is my message to you. Make sure you have a mortgage agent. Hey, hopefully it is me. You do have a mortgage agent that does understand cash flow and what lenders look for. Okay, this is also very, very, very important. Victoria, am I doing good for time? Am I good? Okay. You just pull out you just shut my microphone off if I'm going
only
over.
1 minute more, Stephen.
How many?
1 more minute.
1 more minute. Okay. I'll go quick. This is important. Pre-approval. Okay. Pre-approval is not your green light to go buy whatever you want. It just says you can afford X number of dollars. That's it. A final approval is actually sent to the lender. Lenders don't care who you are until they've seen a fully accepted offer and then your documents. So when I do a pre-approval, I don't send it anywhere, okay? So understand, before you waive a financing condition or anything else, make sure your lender has actually sent it for an approval. And remember this, we can talk about this more in detail another time, they have actually completed what we call the property evaluation, which means the appraisal is complete. Okay, this is very, very critical. Make sure you have your team together. Okay, so we got Florence, Victoria, and Stephen, right? That's a team. We all work together. We text at weird hours of the night. That's how a team works for you. And then that's it. Look at that. Boom, done. Pretty much on time. And then there's just more ways to contact me. I also have a podcast. Okay, the Green Effect podcast. By all means, if you're bored one day, feel free to listen to that. And other than that, that is it for me.
You are amazing. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there are a lot of information that we have that's been put out there. And like what I always say, no matter where you are, you can always take the next step forward. One of the most detrimental things somebody can say is, oh, with the way my credit score is ruined, or with the way I am now, I can't. There's no I can't. We are here to be able to work with you, the stage you are now, so you can be able to take the next step forward. So thank you so much for that presentation, Stephen. We are going to go to the next presentation now. And to save time for the question and answer, you can set the question, you can put the question directly if you want. I'm looking at the best time we can be able to, the best way to do it. So if you have your question, you can start typing them in on the chat. So you can put your question there. And if you want to send it directly to Sister Cynthia, please, can you make Blessing Omobo a co-host so you can send it directly to her? So we can have the question directly, or you send it directly to me. So you can send the question directly, or you put it there so we can be able to save time when we get there. So at this point now, I'm going to be inviting Barrister Florence Thomas for our presentation, and I'm going to be sharing the slide as she starts with the introduction. I know our time is fast spent. We're just really going to double up. Okay, you're welcome, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you everyone for having me. I'm so excited to be here this afternoon. I hope everybody can hear me. So as I think many of you know my name still remains the same, Florence Ido Adedoyin Thomas. So by the grace of God, I'm a legal practitioner here in Waterloo, Ontario. One of my area of practice is real estate. And I'm not going to take much of your time. I know we're running behind the schedule. So I will just quickly tell you why you need a lawyer. You know, buying or selling your real estate property is one of the most significant transactions in person's life. So one needs to be very, very diligent when you are into this type of transaction. So that is why it's very important that you need a lawyer. And I'm going to start with the agreement of purchase and sale. Many of us were very excited. Oh, I'm buying a house. Many of us, based on my experience, many people that have closed their real estate for in the past did not allow the lawyer to review the agreement of purchase and sale before they sign it. That was very, very wrong. Because agreement of purchase and sale is a contract. And once you sign it, you are bound by the terms of the contract. So it's very, very important before you sign the agreement of purchase and sale, please let the lawyer review it. It's going to be in your own interest. It's very, very important. Don't rush to sign the agreement of purchase and sale. Ask for 1 or 2 days. Let me talk to my lawyer. Let my lawyer go through the agreement of purchase and sale before signing it. I hope every one of us will take that home. So why do I need a lawyer? You know, many people, I'm also into immigration. Some of us, we can do the immigration application very well. But when it comes to the real estate, you definitely need the lawyer. With electronic registration, everything from title, searches to transfer of land is completed with specialized software. And this specialized software, only lawyer and law firm can gain access. They can get access to this software. So in other words, you cannot do it yourself because you cannot conduct the searches yourself. You cannot do the registration yourself. It has to be done by a lawyer because of the way the thing is being set. So you need a lawyer. And as I've said, you need a lawyer before signing your agreement of purchase and sale. You need a lawyer to do it for you. So what does the real estate lawyer do for the buyer? I'm going to start from the buyer. So the first thing, before you can do anything, even if you are my very close friend, we have to do the verification of identification. And the thing is, from next year, there's going to be additional verification of identification from January 2024. So to verify you will need to present 2 pieces of government issue ID. As I said, even with that, from January 2024, if you're buying or selling your house, there's going to be additional verification of identification. So another thing that the lawyer does for you is to conduct the title searches. To conduct the title searches, because you need to be sure that you're buying from the right owner. So when a lawyer conducts the searches, there are about 3 searches. One after you must have signed the APS, a few days before the closing. Then on the closing day, the system will force us to conduct another search before transferring the title to the new owner. We want to be sure the system wants the lawyer to do the due diligence that you are not, because after the previous searches, you can never tell. Probably there has been maybe a judgment against the title, against the owner of the title. You want to conduct your due diligence. So the lawyer will do searches to be sure that the title is clean. So another thing, we call it requisition. The lawyer will submit the requisition to the vendor's lawyer. I'm assuming that I'm talking about someone purchasing property now. After the searches, there could be some things. Most of the time, you will see that there is a mortgage being registered against the title. So it is the responsibility of the lawyer representing the buyer to tell the lawyer representing the seller that there are some things that need to be taken care of before the registration of the title. So another thing, the mortgage instruction, of course, if you're buying, except if you don't have a mortgage, if you're buying, you should have given the lender the information of your lawyer. So they send the mortgage instruction to the lawyer, then the lawyer will go through, execute the closing documentation for the purchaser. Another thing I would like to mention is title insurance. Title insurance is not compulsory, but it is very, very necessary. There are some lenders they will not even allow. It's one of the responsibility of the lawyer to make sure that you get the title insurance. And the title insurance is to protect the buyer if there is any, after we must have conducted the searches, probably there are some other things that we could not see before the registration of the title. The title insurance company will take care of that. But if you don't have a title insurance, something like that happens. So that lawyer, the client should even sue the lawyer, because the lawyer needs to advise the client that title insurance is very, very important. Then the lawyer will ensure that you have a valid title upon closing. Yes, so that is for the buyer. Then if you're selling your property, I think that one it's very, very straightforward. straightforward. True, if you're selling your property, the lawyer will still have to, the another thing, on the closing day, many people I know many of my clients, they have asked me, do I have to come to your office? What do I need to do on the closing day? You don't need to come to the office. In as much the fund is available, the bank must have deposited fund into the lawyer trust account. If there is any balance coming from the client too must have deposited the balance into the lawyer trust account. Then the lawyer pay the other lawyer, pay into the other lawyer trust account. As I said, everything is being done electronically. The other lawyer will release what we call transfer instrument. So then your lawyer will complete the registration. Then lawyer will forward the registration document to you and advise you on how you will pick your key. So, and if you are representing if the lawyer is representing the seller, I think that one is very straightforward because you're selling. But the most important thing in lawyer need to, of course, still have to do the identification of the seller, review the APS, then obtain what we call payout statement from existing lenders. Because you're selling your property, most of the time you're selling your property does not mean that you're not owing the mortgage. So it is the responsibility of your lawyer to contact your lender to request for what we call payout statement from the existing lender. So on the closing date, the lawyer will receive fund from the lawyer representing the seller. Then the lawyer from the lawyer representing the buyer, in this case, lawyer representing the seller will have to pay whatever you are owing the lender and report to the client. So if you're buying a condo, also it is very, very advisable that when you're buying a condo, there is a document called status certificates. I'm very sure that the realtor will not even allow you, will not suggest to you that you should sign before you review the status certificate. So you need to let your lawyer get the status certificate and review before you sign the agreement of purchase and sale. Because that status certificate, the lawyer will find out if there is any litigation against the condo management. Then if they have, apart from your own home insurance, that some people call fire insurance, it is very, very important to know that the condo itself has a valid home insurance or fire insurance. So it's very, very important for you to allow your lawyer to review the document called status certificate before you sign it. So I'm rushing because of time. There's some other thing that is being involved in the status certificate as well, the financial insurance information of the corporation. So I will quickly rush through to the next one. I don't know whether we have time, but before during the registration of the title, the lawyer will ask you, let's say there are two people that are on title, couples. For example, it is advisable for them to take title as joint owner. If they're maybe friends now, more than two or more people, then they can take title as tenant in common. I will just pass by the commercial purchase. So let me quickly go to, can a temporary resident buy a house in Canada? Can a temporary resident buy a house in Canada? I know from January this year, 2023, there is a prohibition on the purchase of residential property by non-Canadian, and this will last for 2 years. However, there are some exceptions. So if you're on work permit, if you're on study permit, yes, you can buy a residential property in Canada. But as it has been mentioned, you have to pay additional 25% of the purchase price. This is in addition to your land transfer tax. You pay the land transfer tax, then you pay the additional 25% of the purchase price. But the good thing is, when you become a permanent resident, you can apply for a rebate. You can apply for a rebate. So I don't know how much you'll be able to qualify for. Some people could be able to get everything back. Then depending on how they do the calculation, but you can actually apply for the 25% if you become a permanent resident within 4 years of buying the property in question. Then there are some other conditions that you need to demonstrate to the government before you could be able to qualify to get the rebate. You have to demonstrate to them that you live in the house is not rented, and some other thing. So you can actually, as a temporary resident in Canada, if you are on work permit or study permit, to purchase property, but you have to pay the 25%. We refer to that as non-resident speculated tax. It has to be paid to the government. But if you become a permanent resident within 4 years of purchasing that property, you can apply for a rebate. So because of time, I'm going to stop here. Yes. So thank you so much for having me, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Ma. That's amazing. A lot of, just like I mentioned, a lot of information has been shared, and I believe every one of us here, we have come not just to hear the information, but to be able to take steps, to be able to take action regarding those information, so we can be able to work on it. So I have a couple of questions here, and I'm going to be taking those questions one by one. So I will direct them to, each person as is appropriate. Please just give me a second.
Okay.
So we have a couple of questions here. It's time for question and answer now. Barrister Thomas have shared a lot of important things that we need to know, because any document that is legal, if you don't know what you need to know, the ignorance is not an excuse. You just must know. I remember there was, I think it's this year, a couple of months back, some youth, they wanted to get a property, and they signed. At the end of the day, the money they put down was lost, because they signed, they didn't look at what they signed for, and it's a whole lot of money. So by the time they brought it to me, my hands were tied. I'm like, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a realtor, but I can't be able to help, because you already signed for so. And with this, that means you are committed, you are buying with this. And even if you sue this company, you might not be able to get anything, because you already signed. So when it comes to investment, it's important to put attention to the legal aspect of it. So we have this question here, and other question that we have, we can bring them in quickly too, so we can be able to ask any question. And there's no question that is, that maybe this one, why should I ask this? Or maybe this is too simple, or there's no question that you cannot ask. As far as real estate is concerned, you are free to ask any question. So I have the question here, how to buy real estate investment property with no down payment. When you say no down payment means you are not paying any down payment. The thing is, and I'm going to just speak briefly on this, then Stephen will be able to, because he's a mortgage broker, he can be able to speak to that aspect more. Now, if you are buying real estate property, maybe you are buying your first home, or you are buying investment, whatever you're buying, down payments is part of what you must be ready to put down. If, for example, is maybe you are a first-time homeowner, there are some programs that are available. For example, rent to own is one of them. So you can have certain number of time when you are renting, but a certain amount you'll be paying with your rent that goes into that. That goes into your, it's a long-term thing. That, okay, within so time, and there are different companies that are into this. That's a different thing. But if you are going to buy a real estate property, you must have your down payment. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. Because it's something that has to do with finance, and that's why I brought this key people together. So I want Stephen to speak briefly on that.
Yeah, thanks, Victoria. Okay, so there's two ways to do this. So if you're if you're wanting to buy an investment property, Victoria is correct. You technically need to have a down payment, right, of some sort, 20% if you're going to do it properly. However, if you do own another home, okay, we always do this where we can refinance one or take the equity from one to buy the other home. Okay, so yeah, I know it's not really kind of zero down payment, but it kind of is, but it's not. But I'm just saying, if you don't have the money, but you want another home and you want to buy a rental, you can do that. Okay, the other thing you can do is if you live in a home right now and you've got some equity there, we can take some of that equity and you can buy 5% down, again, depending on the amount, to buy a new owner-occupied home. Okay, that is possible. Finally, and this is something that I've seen go on, and it's actually a very cool way to do it. Victoria used a really important term, rent to own. So we have rent to own partners that we do use. They're incredible. The one way to avoid the 25% non-resident tax is if you do the rent to own for 2 to 3 years while you're waiting for your permanent residency to come through, you can buy a home with the rent to own program, because you technically are not on title. Okay, the investor is that they found for you, and then you can go through rent to own. You need at least 3% down minimum. I know it's not 0, but it's 3, and then you avoid the 25%. And when it comes up time to buy, as long as you're a permanent resident, you avoid the 25%. So I'm answering your question kind of in a roundabout way, but I'm just giving you some options for, let's say, limited down payment. Okay.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, so that's why I said whatever stage you are, you've got us as good professional on the stage you are with your goal. Reach out, then I'll look at what you need, then I'll be able to okay, this is who we are bringing in, this is what we'll be able to do, then we can take it from there. So we have other questions here. The other one is, when is the right time to get a pre-approval? When is the right time? Stephen, when is the right time to get a pre-approval?
Immediately, because if we uncover something that's going to take a month or 2 to fix, or something that needs to be addressed with income or down payment, or, a lot of the times if people are new to Canada, the money is in the country that they're coming from, which is cool. I always tell them, get the money over here right away, because lenders will not ask as many questions if the money's in the country, right? So as an example, get in. I want to see people as early as possible, okay? Because there's planning. There's always planning to be done. So very early.
The point is, what's your goal? If your goal is within, after this program now, you should ask yourself, what's the goal? Because the goal for attending this is, I want to buy my property, or I want to invest more. So if that is the case, then you need your pre-approval, then we can be able to take all the necessary steps. So the other question is, what happens when life happens and a homeowner can't keep up with mortgage payments? Stephen, a lot of questions are coming to you.
Yeah, I know. It's always like this. See, it's always me and the lawyer. It's always the lawyer and the mortgage person. Sorry, just some clarity on that question though. When the who doesn't make payments? What was the question again?
So the question is there on the chat. You can follow me with the chat too. So the second question is, what happens when life happens and a homeowner can't keep up with mortgage payment? So you miss your mortgage, and I'm still going to say one or two things, but I just want to throw that to you. So maybe things unexpected just crop up, and normally you're supposed to have your mortgage payment every month, and you miss it, you cannot have pay because of probably an emergency. What happened?
My suggestion, and I actually just posted this on my social media. There's always a stigma around financial issues, right? My suggestion, reach out to the lender early. Okay. start to talk about, listen, I'm struggling with this. Can we make this work? Can I skip a payment? A lot of mortgages, you can skip a payment or two, right? Have you made some accelerated payments? You can use that towards it, right? We see different things happening. Can you rent out a room? Can you rent out the property and then go and rent something, right? Like there's always different things. But having said that, if it gets to the point where you unfortunately have to sell the house, don't wait until the bank is knocking on your door going power of sale or foreclosure, okay? Jump before you're pushed. Life happens. It is what it is, right? Real estate is not for the faint of heart. It happens. If you got to sell it and rent, hey, it's all good. But don't ruin your financial future because you didn't hit it head on. That's my ask of everybody. Life happens, no judgment. It is what it is. So
yeah, I really like that last aspect, Stephen. Life happens, and I know there's a client of mine. I get to know her after she find out that she needed to do something to sell the house she has, because a lot of things just happened, and the best option was to sell. Time is of the essence. If there's need to get it sold, then just reach out right away. And it's just like a doctor. The way you keep your doctor up to date with your things, that's the same way you work with your realtor, with your mortgage broker. Oh, this is what is going on now. What do I do? What's the next step? Because when you know what you're supposed to do, the right information will be given to you. And the right information that is taken at the right time will save a lot of things from happening. So the other question is, how can we know which institutions have the best FHSA rates?
Okay, I'm just going to say rates in general on that one. So FHSA is a little more of an American term, but it doesn't matter. So as a mortgage broker, and this is very important, please remember this. As a mortgage broker, my job is to make sure that I give the best advice and find, a very, very competitive rate, but also a very competitive, right fitting product. Because I can tell you right now, the best 5% down interest rate I can offer is a horrible mortgage. I'm sure Florence has been through situations where she sees documents come through on what we call a bona fide sale agreement, where you can't get out of the mortgage unless you sell the house, can't refinance, can't do anything with it. Horrible mortgage, don't want to go through it. I'd rather see my clients pay, a few bucks more a month for the right solution. So that's my job. That's my job as a professional, to find the right solution, the best rate combined with the right solution, to make sure I've gone through what your goals are to fit. It is a big picture thing. It's not a cookie cutter. Here's the best rate. See you later. Okay. That's my job to identify that for you.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Yeah, so one of the things again is, so for a couple of people that are here, I know that a couple of my clients that are here, people that I've spoken with, one of the things that I do is, depending on your issue, because a lot of time, and I know Stevie used to be with RBC for many years, a lot of time, bank might not be able to access all of the things that you need to get you the best rate. So that's why having a good mortgage broker, they can access all of those things and be able to tell you, okay, this is what works for you. And that's one of the first things I always do with my client. How do we get the best rate? What do we do? So that is answered. The other question I have here, indirectly, we have answered that question, but I'm still going to read it out. Can international students buy a house, and what is the percentage? We've answered that question in one of the discussions we've had. Because anybody that is not a PR holder or a citizen in Canada is referred to as foreign buyers. And for foreign buyers, yes, you can buy. Stephen has talked about it. I have talked about it, and Barrister has talked about it too. If you have the 25% tax to be able to pay, we'll be able to work with you and see where you are to be able to help you to buy. So you can buy if all of those conditions are met. So the other question I have is, oh, sure. Yes. I'll send a message to that one. Okay. Please, what's the minimum amount one needs to invest in a real estate business? What's the minimum amount one needs to invest in a real estate business? And do I need to have a mortgage company to manage the funds? No. I'm just trying to understand the two questions very well. What's the minimum amount one needs to invest in a real estate business? It depends on the property you are buying. For example, I have a client. They've told me their goal is to invest, and it's a couple of them coming together. So they've given me a rough idea of what they are looking at, because if you are investing, you can have, depending on the number of rooms that you have, the first set of property that I sent to them have 2 sets of a bedroom, then I think 1 3-bedroom. It's different from a house that has maybe, for example, 3 sets of a bedroom. So depending on the property, that's what will determine what you're doing. So if you want to invest, what are you looking at? What do you have? That will determine like the kind of property you will look at, and that will determine what's the minimum amount. Because if we are talking about the minimum amount, you are talking based on how much does that property cost for you to be able to, buy it. So the other question is, so what's the minimum amount one needs to invest in real estate business? Then do I need to have a mortgage company to manage the funds? I'm trying to understand that question very well. So you don't need to have you need to work with a mortgage broker to be able to get your investment put together. If I understand the question very well. If not, you can still shoot me another one. I'll be able to look at it. Stephen, do you want to say 1 minute to say something about those two questions?
Just 20% down for investment property. When I heard the word business, I was thinking maybe commercial property. I don't do commercial lending myself. It's something that I have a partner in my brokerage that does that. But that's a different beast altogether, right? Could be 20%, could be 30, could be 10, depending if you get a CMHC program. So it's a different beast altogether.
Okay. So that is answered, and I know it's a lot of information. I know there are a lot of things there that you will still need answers for. There will still be a lot of questions that will come up here and there that you want to find answers for. And that's why I'm here. That's why we are here. So we can always reach out. I'm going to give 1 or 2 minutes for NAIRO representative to talk. But before we do that, I'm just going to say that because of our time, because I'm always keen on time. That's why I like to work on my things ahead of time, so that at least I make sure I'm able to get things done the time I'm supposed to get it done. So I want us to take 1 or 2 minutes to be able to do, I saw a lot of questions coming in. I'm just looking at the time that we have now. I'll take just one out of the question. All other ones, we can be able to probably look into having this section another time, or we can look into, reach out to me. I'll be able to answer them directly. So I will just take one, so we can be able to go into our raffle draw. Is there a difference between buying a regular house and a duplex, a triplex, a quadplex? Okay, so this question is, what's the difference between buying a single residential or a duplex or a triplex or quadplex? It depends on, so if you are investing, it depends on how much you have, how much investment price that you have. So, so for that, it depends on you. The only difference is, for example, if you are buying a single family house or if you are buying a duplex, the price will be completely different. So that will determine how much you need to work with in terms of the investment budget. So we will stop here now for the question. Any other questions? I'm sorry, I know there are a lot of questions that people want to ask, but I will not be able to answer all of the questions right now on this platform. So we can be able to close on time, and you can always reach out. Yes, I'm going to put, I'm going to type in the detail here now why we move on with the raffle draw. So you can contact me. For people that don't know me or that have not done businesses with me before, you can contact me. I'm Victoria Realtor. I'm here, and you have my cell phone number. I can put all of those there. I put the contact information for Stephen too. I put the contact information for Barrister, why the raffle draw is going on. So you can reach out and we can be able to answer any of the questions. So I want to appreciate every one of us, but we have not gotten to the closing yet. I'm just going to invite Blessing now to take the raffle draw. Blessing, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I'm here.
please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much to Nairo for putting this together. Thank you for our speakers. Thank you. We understand that the time is short, but we also appreciate the information you've been able to share with this short time. So just give me a moment. I'm going to share my screen because I have been able to take down the names of everybody present that has stayed till the end. And we're just give me a moment, please. Okay, thank you. So sorry about that. I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to be using a random name generator to generate the name of the winner. I've put in everybody's name and okay. So just give me a moment. Please let me know when you can see my screen. I'm trying to share my screen now. Oh, I'm unable to share because you have disabled
Give me
the
a
screen
second.
sharing.
Let me make you
Okay.
a host.
Okay.
And I just sent you a text, Blessing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let me try again. Oh, you still haven't made me. Oh, I just want everybody to see.
Yeah, that would be better.
That's why, yeah.
You can share now, Bessie.
Okay, thank you. All right. Please let me know when you can. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I have put in the names, except the speakers, obviously. I didn't put their names. So I put everybody's name and I'm going to click on start. So let's see. Oh, nice. So we have 4 winners. We have Oluseyi, we have Monsurat, we have Casimir, and we have Alex. So congratulations to the 4 of you. Yes, so we would reach out to you and let you know how you can get your gifts and how we can get the gifts across to you. Thank you so much, everybody, for staying until the end and listening to everything that we've said. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
Yeah.
Thank
Can you please take down the name of the
Sure.
winners, please?
Yes, I'm going to do that and send it to you, Ma.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Ma.
Okay, that's amazing. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we did this. And it's been a good good use of our time. I was trying to type in the whole thing, but yeah. Everybody wants to win. No worry, there will be other opportunity for us to win. So I'll get the detail of the 4 winners from Blessing, and I will reach out to you so you can be able to get your gift card from me. Okay, so I'm going to I'll give 1 minute or give this time for the Nairo executive to say a word or two before we close for today.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I think this is the workshop that has had the highest attendance so far. So thank you so much to the leadership and organizational skills of Pastor Victoria. I really appreciate your commitment to putting this workshop together and trying and doing all you can to ensure that our community is empowered to to, you know, be homeowners in this land and to succeed and thrive. I also want to appreciate Stephen and Barrister Florence for coming out to also share with us some nuggets and powerful words of wisdom. I learned a lot. Even being an homeowner, I still learned a lot. So this is a workshop that I feel like it's not even limited to those who are looking to buy homes. Even if you already have, there's some lessons to get there, and I really appreciate your time. And I was chatting with Cynthia. I said, I hope this is one of many series to come. So we're still tasking you to say we want to have more of this, because our platform has almost 2,000 people, and I think at the highest I saw 32. We would love to do more of this. So thank you so much, and I really wish you a blessed and warm weekend.
Okay, thank you so much. That's the Nairo president. That's Fidelia.
Yes.
She
Yes.
is amazing. I really appreciate you too and your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the gift card will reach out to us, and the recording, I believe Nairo recorded, right? I believe it was recorded.
Yes.
So for the people that attended, we are going to send the recording of this to you. Then any other information that we need to share, we share it too. I have all your emails, so everything will be shared with you. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your time. And thank you, Stephen. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Barrister, thank you so much. I appreciate you for your time, for all of the your professionalism in terms of what you have shared with us and the work you do. Thank you so much. I believe if I call upon any of you any other time, you'll be more than happy to still work with me. Thank you so much. And my second eye, Blessing, you are the best. Zion, thank you so much. And my friend joined all the way from Nigeria too. I think she left Ilan. Oh, Tola, I'm glad you are still there. That was Tola is my university friend, and we are still in touch. Thank you for being part of the program. Thank you, everyone. God bless you, and enjoy a great weekend. I look forward to doing businesses with you. Thank you.